Welcome to the Blinded Truth podcast where real stories meet real healing. I'm your host, Destiny Vance. Today's episode is titled Whispering Through the Pain Until It Screams Back. A lot of us don't face our pain, we manage it, hide it, or try to outgrow it without ever addressing it. We whisper through it, hoping it stays quiet, but pain doesn't stay silent forever. Eventually, it demands to be heard. Today, we're getting real about what happens when you ignore what hurts and what it looks like when that pain forces you to finally listen. This episode is powered by Destiny is by Choice Support Services because your truth matters. I have a very special guest by the name of, I'm going to say Lee.
You can say Lee.
I would say Lee because that's what I've been knowing you as for my whole life.
All your life.
And then when she says that, it's because she's known me literally for all my life.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So
much.
I love this because I've been knowing you my whole life.
Right.
But you never know what somebody is going through until they tell their story.
Exactly.
And we got to kind of like exchange stories. It was at one of the church group.
And an E-group at Elevation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you heard my story and was like, I did not know you were going through all of that.
I had no idea.
And then I heard your story and I was just kind of like, I didn't know you had went through all of that because when we met, I was a kid.
Yeah.
So it really goes to show like kids sometimes don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But for our listeners today, share a little bit about your story. And then we're going to go into becoming.
Okay. I really don't know where to begin because it's so much.
My story probably begins when I was younger. Because what we conditioned to believe as children or our childhood will almost destroy us as adults if we don't get a hand on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So for me, there was a lot of drugs, alcohol, mental abuse, and they don't even know it was mental abuse. Okay. What they tend to do is like do as I say, not as I do. What goes on in this house stays in this house.
Mm-hmm.
You better not lie, but the whole time we're watching them lie. So it's like there's just certain things I think in my life that I had to kind of recycle or deconstruct in my head as I became older because it just didn't make sense to me as a child. So I can go into maybe my teenage years, running away from home, drinking Robitussin, just trying to numb a feeling of or escape from something that I was actually conditioned to believe, sexually abused. And I can remember in those days, it was like, instead of them, they're watching you as you're acting out, none of them took the time and say, what's wrong?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? They called you dirty. They called you nasty because the church was there.
Mm-hmm.
It was always, you got to, Jesus, you're going to go to hell.
Yeah.
If you keep doing, hell and damnation was taught. So we were so scared to even make mistakes. But as I got older, I started realizing there's got to be something more to this than what meets the eye, but I didn't know how to reach out to it.
Yeah. I don't think the church realizes how much trauma they cause. I can remember having conversations about my actions, and I remember somebody actually saying, like, do you want to be like this trash can? And I was like, and it was just so like, what are you talking about? Like, instead of saying, like, what makes you curious about sex or whatever, or like being called fast because, wanting to be with an older guy. And it was like, but I'm a willing party. Like, I didn't understand it,
Yeah.
Or like being like the talk of the church because I'm pregnant. And I'm like, okay, but there was other people in the church that they became pregnant at an early age, and it was like, oh, this is beautiful. And I'm like, I guess because I was the rebel, I was like,
girl, honey, I was black sheep too.
Yeah.
I still have classmates when they see me, they're like, girl, we live vicariously through you. Every time you turn around, what leads you this time? I was either taking the janitor's car in the 9th grade, driving, leaving his car somewhere, catch another ride. It was always something. I was always doing something because I just didn't fit in the mold that they created us to fit in. And now at 60, it's like I was never meant to fit in those molds. And so getting pregnant at 18, getting married, being in an abusive relationship, and realizing that I was looking for love and understanding, but I didn't realize that my being ex-husband didn't like his own mama. Yeah. So how was he gonna love me? Yeah. You know, but I didn't. Hindsight is always 20/20.
Because like when you talk about condition, I don't think it's just family conditioning us. Church and society conditioning us.
Of course.
Because
of course.
I can remember being 18, 19, like at one point, me and my ex-husband, we were homeless and then we moved in together. So now, oh, y'all just gonna put a house. Well, what a lot of people didn't understand about me at that age, I didn't really want to be married. I had no plan of being married. Like, it was just not, because marriage wasn't something that was modeled in my family, you know?
Exactly.
And so being, like, asked in a most ridiculous way, like, I think we should go ahead and do this. It was like, okay. And I can remember my cousin Brandon on my wedding day saying, we can just leave out the church right now. Won't nobody know what we doing. And I sat there in the back kind of like, I don't look good. Like, because his mom, everybody knew my cousin Angie got me dressed. She did my makeup. She did my hair. Like, I was like, oh,
girl, I felt like I was in a shotgun wedding. I felt like I looked like I was 12 years old. They done draped this white dress on me. And we were at the church, and it was like, you know, you had all the great aunts, all them downstairs baking, cooking, or doing something. And it's like, this is not what I wanted. I didn't want this. I wasn't that kid that you gave a Barbie doll and a stove to and say, you do this because this is what you're supposed to do as a girl.
Yeah.
I was a tomboy.
Yes.
I climbed trees.
I'm still living in the streets. Out partying. Yes. This is what I'm doing.
So, but the thing about it is, you still try to honor the thing that your family brought you up with.
Because it's a noble thing.
It's the noble thing, but the whole time, religion played a big part in my destruction because I could not live up to what they wanted me to live up to.
Yeah.
So I rebelled. Yeah. On every level of rebellion, I rebelled. Between, you know, getting married at a young age, he was very abusive, but I realized he was just as broken as I was, if not more, you know, and I didn't know how to just walk away because what else was there to do? What else am I supposed to do?
And it's an abomination of the church and the family.
Girl, just stay there.
Yeah. Just pray about it.
Just pray about it.
I'm going to pray about it because I'm going to kill him.
But the thing about it, they didn't even understand what prayer means. So how you going to teach me what prayer means? Because to me now, prayer is a communication between me and God, not me, you, and God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So going through that and understanding that at that first relationship, when I finally walked away from it, but girl, I didn't just walk away and just go into somebody's office and say, I need help. I need counseling. Girl, I went from one relationship to another, relationship to another. Didn't even get the divorce. I was just out there thinking this is how you do it because nobody teaches you. You don't come with no instruction.
Yeah.
You just do what you feel. And those feelings are jacked up. My emotions were all over the place. I didn't know how to control them. They controlled me on everything I felt. If I felt like I wanted to do that, then I just did it. I dealt with the consequences later.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, I've been doing hair pretty much all my life. I've been doing hair since 1988. OG with a new twist. You know what I'm saying? Still in the game, you know. And even I can remember just doing hair and how that's all I've ever done was do hair and go to hair shows. And that was a battle because he didn't want me to do that. You know, I wanted something more for my life because after I had my first daughter, I thought to myself, postpartum, I didn't know what to do. My mom came down, my cousin came down, everybody was trying to help me, but I just wanted to disappear.
Yes.
I just wanted to disappear because nobody taught me. So they don't teach you those things. They just expect for you just to understand it and go through it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't.
I wrote a paper about postpartum and I was saying like how when it's a thing that society says women are supposed to do. Make babies, get married. But they don't teach you like the mental battles you go through in having a baby and then being pregnant and like afterwards, like also going through that, it was like my first pregnancy, my full-term first pregnancy was so. I'm surprised that child didn't get excited because I was under so much stress from trying to get him here because having miscarriages before and going through the crap I was going through. I lost my brother. It was like, and then so that May, my aunt's husband died within 6 months of them getting married. And I was like, what is happening? And then at June, I lost my brother. Mm. That September, we lost another uncle. Yeah. And it was like, what nervous in the world? Gone. Shot. Now imagine, I'm in the hospital from the time I get pregnant to the time I have him because I had so much nausea and just sickness. And then after having him, I just felt like I'm losing my freaking mind. Like I was crying, I was emotional. It was just like, trying to bond, feel like you are bonding with them, like you're doing everything right and everybody talking in your ear, like I think people understand like what your body goes through and going through it I think back to like when people be like, so when you 14 and got pregnant, where would you go? If I went through what I went through with my son at the age of 14, I think I would have lost my mind. Because it would just be like, I don't think you understand.
No, and I think the reason why they don't understand is because nobody explains to them. So how they can explain that?
Yeah.
All of it's generational.
Yeah.
Everything is generational. And so the expectations of us knowing what goes next is put on us. And then we try to figure it out because we learn how to keep it all inside instead of talking about it. Mm-hmm. I can remember, because also too, when I've been in prison, I remember this one officer telling me one time, he was like, "You're honest to a fault." Didn't understand what that meant, but I now realize that I do talk. I talk a lot. I just don't know how to put it in context for it to make sense. But learning a lot of these things, even when the reason why I went to prison, it blew my mind because my family was like, well, we spent our lives I spent my life in my family's life of pushing. Don't say nothing. Yeah. Don't do anything. So when I look back over everything, not only you didn't tell me about how to run a marriage or how to have a baby or finances or things like that or how to conduct a job or go to college to make something of myself other than what's presented to me right now, I felt like a complete failure. Mm-hmm. And I realized that all the things that I've ever gone through in life, it made me out to be the woman I am right now.
Yeah.
Some of it I had to go to. Do I wish I could have done something different? Of course I do. Everybody does. Mm-hmm. But I still look at it and say, I don't think I would be who I am right now.
Yeah.
Going through the things that I went through and the postpartum depression, because even after I had my oldest daughter, I got pregnant again. My husband he was such a narcissistic person. And he said, I don't want to have no more kids. Like I got pregnant by myself. You didn't do it by breathing.
Or that my favorite line was, how did this happen?
Yeah. So I'm thinking, okay.
I'm sorry. What do you mean?
Okay. And I said, okay. So he told me, he gave me an ultimatum. You have an abortion or we not? No. I'm like, what? I'm married to you. What do you mean? Yeah. And I did it. I went by myself. But he wasn't going to do it. That's how narcissistic this man was. I did it. Mm-hmm. It happened again. Looking at me again.
How did this happen?
Dude. So I go down. This time I asked one of my friends, would she go with me? She was livid. Why are you coming in by yourself? And I got to the point like, I can't keep doing this. Mm-hmm. So my last pregnancy, I was like, I don't want to do this again. I mean, I'm not talking about these are like years apart. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about within months, maybe a year or two, not even that. And he was like, just constantly stayed in my head about what I should do, when I should do, and he's never going to have no money. Because I didn't have the proper upbringing. I didn't know how to handle that. I don't have no money. You gonna keep having these kids? Why ain't having them by myself? So I didn't have that proper upbringing to understand none of that. Mm-hmm. I felt like I was handed out to the wolves. And so the last one, when he told me that my biggest fear is rejection then. I don't care about it now, but then was rejection. And he fussed at me one night, just kept fussing, screaming, yell at me. And I was like, I got to do something. I have the money. So I tried to give myself a picture.
Oh my God.
I took a coat hanger and I tried to give myself a picture because I got tired of hearing. They care about my life or the child's life. I just wanted some mental anguish to stop. I wanted to stop. So when I tried to do that, I got scared. I went out to the emergency room. And then, now if you do something like that, they'd be like, okay, she's in room 2 with the rubber all around it. That's the room she's in right now. But then,
why you do that?
Yeah. So, but now it's like, well, do you want to talk to somebody? That to me, now when I look back, that should have been a cry out to help. Somebody should have been at those doors like, what did you do yourself? Why did you do this to yourself? You could have killed you, the child, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't like that. It's almost like we skipped all over that. And next thing you know, I'm looking at them. I said, so you can't do it.
Yeah.
So you can't do the. It was like, no, man, you're too far gone. I don't think I could think of my mind. I gotta go tell you.
And I think that too, like, we put on this strong persona that a lot of times people be like, oh, she's fine, because I look okay. Like, I look like I'm fine. So when I'm telling you, like, no, I'm okay, you're not really reading the symptoms. Where now, if I look at somebody and I say, you okay? I watch how they respond. Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And then I be like,
I got a discernment is out of this freaking world now because now I know. But even going through that, nobody really knew a lot about that, because when I remember leaving that hospital, I dreaded going to his job to tell him it didn't happen. I dreaded it. So I lived my life on constant edge all the time. And so, I ended up having my beautiful girl. I still had her, thank God. But when I look back over everything, I realized that my life has been topsy-turvy. And how I made it through sometimes, I don't even remember. Yeah. I don't remember. And then here comes crack. Hello, somebody. Got to be more careful. Here comes crack. My best friend, my lover, my confidant. That's how I felt. I took it all the way. That thing I've ever felt. You could tell me nothing. I was alive again. I ain't never been alive, so how would I know what I was being alive again meant? Right? But it's something nobody could take away. That's how sick my mind was. It's something nobody could take away from me. I'm going to do this until the wheels fall off. It sold me a beautiful lie.
Always.
It sold me a beautiful lie. And what's so crazy, while you're on it, you lie so much to your family, to yourself, to your children. People think when they can clearly see something ain't right with this picture. Yeah. But I'm going to repaint it for you. Now look at it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they're like, girl, look. But I can just remember going through that and because I didn't know what else to do. And this is when my kids were little. And now when I look back on pictures and seeing them small, I remember what I was going through their and what they look like. They look like. Do they remember, like, do they understand what you were going through in that moment? Cause I think that's hard. Like now that my kids are getting older, like they have some recollection of like things that happened. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I did not know you knew that. And I'd be like, ooh. My girls right now are 30, getting ready to turn 38 and 41. So my girls know a lot about me because I have a big mouth and I'm going to say, and because I did a lot of damage. I did a lot of damage. Choosing drugs over my kids, choosing a man over my children. I did some damage because I didn't know I was in survival mode. And I almost destroyed them just trying to live. Yeah. And so now my oldest daughter, sometimes she'll do a gut punch, but I understand where it's coming from now. Yeah. I don't defend it like I used to. Yeah. Like, wait a minute. I now understand, even at her good age, she still has to learn to heal herself. Yeah. Because I'm going to be there for you to support you, but I'm not going to parent you out of guilt. Yeah. Same thing with my youngest daughter. She's 38. She's older than both of us. Okay? That youngest one and both of them are amazing girls, but that youngest one, she'll just step back and she will observe everything and tell you nothing. Have you wondering, what was she thinking? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But she remembers things. I wrote my book and neither one of them had read it, and I have to respect that because they said, Mama, we know what you went through. Yeah. We know exactly what you went through and we don't want to read, but my very first letter was to them.
Oh, wow. My mom used to write letters, back in the day to us, just about like, just apologizing. And I really didn't understand it until I actually had kids of my own. And I had asked her one time, I said that, why did you used to do that? And she's like, because even if y'all didn't understand it, it will come back to you later on. And where you can go back and be like, okay, she did apologize for that.
And not only that too, she did it for her.
Yeah.
She had to do it for her because the thing about it, just like when I make videos, I'm on social media, when I make my little, videos about, just encouraging. My sister's like, well, why are you making so many? But see, you don't look at it all the time, so it looks like it's a lot. I move when God says move, right? So when I do it, it's for me.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's to understand.
It reminds me where I am right now, and there's no going back. Those options that used to be on the table, the drugs, the sex, the lies, the whatever, they're no longer an option. Mm-hmm. So I have to make up my own option to keep me moving forward. Because if not, it's easy to fall back. I don't care. You can be clean for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
One is too many. 1,000 will never be enough.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's drugs, food, relationships, a cat, a dog, or a mouse. It don't matter. Because whatever you fixate yourself on something to make yourself feel good, it ain't good for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, one is too many. 1,000 will never be enough. So you have to get to a place in your life where you say, I matter.
Yeah.
Everything about me matters. Going through that relationship and jumping from the frying pan into a fire, and I got into a relationship with a firefighter. That's when I was to prison behind. He had me doing some things, exposing myself, and I turned it in where Rono pulled me a whole new butthole, girl. Girl, you heard about what she did? She did all this with her children, but none of them were man and woman enough to come say, Lee, happy girl.
Yeah.
Because I have enough discernment to understand who's being nosy or who really cares.
Yeah.
I don't owe anybody anything anymore. I realize that now.
Yeah.
I've had people come in my chair one minute, look at me and smile me, tell me I'm the best hairdresser in the world. Somebody can go whisper in their ear, and next thing I won't see them at all. And then come to find out. So I've had to battle through some things, that has left me deeply scarred that nobody sees. But I have to trust the God in me that keeps me moving forward. Because if not, I'll still rely on my own understanding. Mm-hmm. And sometimes my understanding is like I don't understand.
No.
So I have to keep moving. And if I don't keep moving in what I know now, I just might as well go on to tell them put me 6 feet under.
Yeah.
But I ain't ready for all that. I ain't ready for that.
Yeah.
So, I'm not blocking people. I'm not telling people I want them to watch me win.
Yeah.
I want them to watch me because I hold no grudges towards anybody, but I do say this. As you're going through life, trustably somebody's watching.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody needs your help.
And a lot of times they just don't want to say it because they got to come to help from you. And it's probably something they really are holding a grudge within, about you, something about you, because they're probably trying to figure out, well, how's she getting it together?
How is she?
And then
it's a choice.
Yeah.
At the end of it's a choice. Nobody's dangling a carrot over top of my head.
Yeah.
It is a freaking choice. I either choose to live, walk and live, or I choose to lay down and die. I choose to walk and live. That's why I moved forward. People's like, well, Lee, you're always traveling. You're always on the road, but that's me.
Yeah.
I ain't asking for no gas money. No.
And I ain't actually be in my business.
Yes.
So we got on a story, and I want to mention I want you to talk about your book, but I have a couple questions for you.
Talk to me.
So when you hear whispering through the pain, what does that mean to you personally?
Whispering through the pain for me means, just saying it anyway. No matter how hard it hurts.
Yeah.
I can go back and I can talk about the reason why I turned the situation in, the reason that I ended up in prison. It was painful. but I had to say something. If not, those kids are grown now. They got kids now. That's how long ago it's been. But even in the pain, I still had to say something. Even if nobody heard me. Yeah. Even if nobody believed me. I still had to say something. Yeah. And I still had to pay a price. I feel like you broke the conditioning and the generational curses of keeping it silent. You spoke up and said something because you don't know what that could have carried on for them of you staying silent and not saying something and telling them like you don't say something, you don't say nothing. That can hold a lot of weight for people. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it took a lot of strength to be that person to say, I gotta say something. I got to, and I'm so used to dealing with abuse on, what goes on distance. Yes. Even when I got into that relationship where he was saying, where he was actually trying to use reverse psychology on me. I look back on it now, it's like, nobody will believe you. Mm-hmm. If you just keep doing this, then we both can enjoy life. There's no enjoyment in here. I don't want him, I want you. Yeah. So I had to pick and choose. And if I didn't, it was a thing of rejection. That meant he wouldn't speak to me for 2 weeks. Put you in the corner. Put baby in the corner. Put you in the corner. They put me in until you fold. Put me in the corner. Ooh. People don't understand that part. They were like, well, girl, you was grown. You should have known better. Really? Yeah. Really? When all you know is begging and pleading for somebody to love you, you don't know what it feels to get up and just walk out because you're not being fed at the table. Mm-hmm. You don't know when that. You break that psychological mode. Yeah. It's like cracking. Mm-hmm. And I remember cracking. And my friend was on the phone and was like, I don't know if I need to call the police or come see you because I'm really scared of what's going to happen. Because when you've been psychologically conditioned, where I'm gonna put you in the corner, or I'm gonna put you on the shelf and then I'm gonna take you down when it's time to show you off, and then I'm gonna put you back up. And it's like when you've been psychologically conditioned to don't pass go collect $200, and it becomes automatic. You automatically put yourself up on the shelf and wait because you'll be like, okay, they're gonna come back and back to normal programming. I'm hoping that it'll be different this time instead of knowing that it's a cycle and it's not going to change. No, so yeah, it does something to you where then once you break it and you start speaking and doing for yourself and you start saying, I'm not. If that's what we're gonna do, then I'm going left. Then you start showing into a place of your thoughts starts running wild, and you're like, well, shouldn't I did that? Should I have not done that? Should I have spoke up for myself? Should I do that? You start, then it's like another shift of like, what is happening? Because now you're like, you feel like you're mentally unstable. And then there's not enough people around you who have enough sense to guide you in that direction because you feel like you're doing it by yourself. Yeah. And in the Black community or Black families, you don't talk to other people. No. You don't do those things. So some things you have to figure out for yourself. When I started going to counseling, it was like, well, what are you doing that for? Yeah. Because what's wrong with you? For some reason, I need it because I can't keep talking to you. Yeah. I can't keep talking to you. So you spoke a little bit about suppressing the pain. So for you, when you suppress that pain for too long, what does that look like for suppressing pain? That looks like using. That looks like trying to figure out who's safe to buy crack from. Not safe. Who's safe? Girl, when I came, they were like, oh, you smiling too much. You just said hello and asked about my family. You sure you went to, it's like, who is safe? That's real talk. That's what suppressing the pain means. As safe as possible. Exactly. And be like, she is the fed. Something just ain't right with this picture. I promise you, I'm not. So it just got to a place where it's like suppressing pain meant doing things that you normally would not do, but you do it anyway. You don't want nobody to know that there's pain there. Mm-hmm. So you do things outside of your character. Yeah. Suppress it. What was that moment of change for you? Like, what was that moment of, I ain't doing this. I can't keep this cycle? Because everybody has that moment. I had a lot of those moments just to find out. Okay, say for instance, when I first started going to rehab back in the 90s, drug rehab, because, okay, she's on crack, y'all put her in the rehab. All right, I'll go. I can't keep doing this no more. But the whole time I was, they say, well, there's a difference between recovery and being sober. I was just sober. I just wasn't doing it. Recovery, I didn't have the pieces to stop me from going back into that. So what I would do I praise the fact that I just didn't use, but yet I wasn't going to meetings. I wasn't talking to people. I didn't have a sponsor. I didn't have any of those things. So that whole thing for me was a thing of understanding, like, wait a minute, they go hand in hand. Just like if you're feeling like, you got to take antidepressants, well, counseling and antidepressants go together. They go hand in hand.
Yes.
It's when those things started coming together is when I start understanding I ain't got to do this.
Yeah.
Because I thought if I'm left out here just to say, just don't do it, y'all in trouble.
Like the Dr. Drug Dog. We all failed him.
I'm just saying, y'all in trouble. If I'm left out here on my own demise, because I stayed on step one for the longest time. I stayed on step one I am powerless.
My psychology teacher, he encourages anyone going into the human services field to start working the steps. And he said, even if you don't have a drug addiction, you have some sort of addiction, because
come on.
He said, he's a true believer that that's where the self-discovery happens. And he said, when you're working in the human services world, you got to be able to relate what that person is feeling like on step one. And
so it's easier to tell somebody, well, just stay away from it. Don't do it. Well, that's why they say people, places, and things need to change.
Right.
I understand that clearly now. It's like it's Vegas right now for me. I understand clearly why I got to stay away from that stuff. Now, while I was going through it, I couldn't understand it because the pain wasn't making sense. So I needed to numb it because I didn't want it to make sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so me going back and forth through the rehabs and my last bout was 2013 with crack. Okay, married to a builder here in Roanoke. I was married to him, and I'll never forget what was on the line. Now was I can get I can violate, I get things taken away from me. I mean, I'm 17 years still hovering on top of my head. Sometimes when you're in so much pain, those things don't matter.
No.
And people try to figure out, because I remember going to go to probation. They thought I was a probation officer. No, dude. I'm trying to get by just like you. I can remember going in there, sitting, and I'm watching, looking at everybody. My light bulbs flickered before it completely came on. What is it? What is it? One thing that we hate to do, especially when we're addicts, we hate to take orders. We hate for people to put out things in front of us to tell us how we should do things. Because in our little warped mind, we think we already know it. Don't. But that's the psychology part. That's the psychological part. But what came to me was 2013, 2014, when I was using because I could not deal with why I went to prison first. That's I went back. I've been clean for 17, 18 years. Went back on it because I couldn't deal with why I went and why they labeled me for the rest of my life. Could deal with it. Nobody knew that part. Nobody knew that silent part of me. And the guy that I was with was feeding it to me because I was that trophy. Put it up here. You so much run around the house like you're crazy. And that's what I need. Like my mind, I lost my mind. Catch me if you can. That's what you tell them. Catch me if you can. We made promises to each other. Catch me if you can. And I talk like that because it's real.
Yeah.
That's that crap that in my mind I thought that as long as I didn't think of that, I was good over here the whole time I was dying. It's so both of us are beautiful. You can sell as much as you want. You can use as much as you want. You'll be okay. And the whole time we're not. So when it came to me with that last bout, and I had to go down in the cup because I had maxed out to brown. That means they can call you anytime you come in. Ain't no picking up no phone talking about what color code are you now.
And you got a certain time frame to be
girl, ain't none for me. I done burnt holes through the cups, because we are tired of you, When I look back over, I laugh at it because I was so trying to hide that pain so bad and so hard. I just bump all the rules. But that last bout was when I went down there. He told me to pee in the cup. I said, you ain't paid for none of them cups. And I ain't peeing in the cup. Oh my God. He looked at me. He said, this boy, what is going on with you? I was trying to hang on to every shred of identity in the drug world, not in human world, in the drug world of like, I'm going to keep using no matter what you do to me. All right. A couple of days later, girl, they came to the shop like, let's go. I'm like, what? And that's when the guy said, you're honest to a fault. Didn't understand what that meant. That's when my journey began. That's when the light bulbs came on. But by then, I couldn't go nowhere and do nothing. Obey what they told me to do. That was my last battle that I had to touch drugs since 2000.
So you kind of hit on it a little bit, but I wanted to ask you, what role does accountability play in facing your pain?
What role does accountability like? I'm the problem. Accountability
for everything, because I feel like that's something that we don't take into account.
No,
like
we don't.
What we do.
No, I didn't. I didn't take none of it. As far as my grandkids, my kids, my husband, none of that. And I can tell y'all all day long, my husband's a drug dealer, but he still ain't make me do them drugs.
Yeah.
That was my choice at the end of the day. That was Lee's wicked way of thinking. Because when I first met him, and I mean, he was cool and all, I had just got out of prison. I'm thinking I'm good. I was talking about being sober and being and recovering. I was just sober. I just hadn't used it all the time. So what happened was, it's always around the corner waiting for you unless you do something about it, right? So I remember meeting him, and my daughter and her boyfriend met him, and her boyfriend was like, "Man, you know what that is?" I'm like, "No, that's me." Talking about. He was like, "Man, he's like one of the biggest." And instead of me running, said, "I can't do this," that little piece in the back of my mind said, "Oh, I'm going to ride this with points." But that was the broken part of me that wanted to hide out because I was still shameful of what I did because I went to prison. So in my little opinion, it might have made sense. Most people would say, "Girl, no, what you should have done." Well, you can tell me that all day long.
People like to tell you what you should have, could have, would have done until they end the situation.
Until you're in the situation. And I saw my way out. As soon as I seen it, I was going to somehow convince him that we just going to live as a big happy family in the drug world. Y'all thrive. We can ready to thrive. No, we can ready to die. And I laugh about it because this stuff is so true when I look back, and then when it's pointed out to me, when it's told to me, especially when I was in rehab in the jail, I wanted to fight everybody up in there. Girl, you used him. No, I didn't. And then I would lay down. They would tell us we had to write in journals. Girl, on my journals. I still got my journals today, and I still read them. I was like, I had a plan, and it did not get to execute it.
Ain't it funny the lies we tell ourselves?
That's the accountability part, when I can actually literally say, and I remember going to him and apologizing to him for even thinking those things when, he tried to be this big puffed up guy, like, "No, I should have." No, man, let me have mine.
Yeah.
Just let me have mine. I need to own my stuff. I really do, because when I own my stuff, it sets me free.
Yeah.
When I own every bit of it, because I'm not pointing my finger at him. He's got his own demons he's got to deal with, and I've got mine. And I can't deal with mine as long as I'm looking at his.
Yeah, it's like looking in the mirror. You got to be able to look at your own self.
Yep.
What did your pain reveal about you that you didn't want to see?
That I was vulnerable. And I didn't want to be vulnerable, because being vulnerable to me takes me back to being a little girl, and I didn't have a say.
Yeah. I'm already let you know you got to come back for part 2, because you have a lot to discuss. It's a lot. And I love these segments like it, because it's kind of like you can't just box it into one segment.
Okay.
So, for the people out there that's wondering about her book, tell me about your book. Show it loud and proud.
Ain't that cute? Yes. I'm whispering as loud as I can. The memoir, the story they didn't want to hear. That's me. That's me last year, and that's me when I was 6 years old, when I was abused. And this book pretty much is, my sister said, "Well, is it a snitch book?" No, it ain't no snitch book. What are you talking about?
And if it is, you better hope you in the clear.
That's it. I said, no, this book is actually about me and how I've survived the things that most people look at it and say, like my brother, he read it, he loved it. He says, man, I got more out of this 76-page book than I did out of a 300-page book. He said, because it was real and it was raw. It was not overly laced with religion. It was not overly laced with, it goes in no cussing in it, but it's real talk.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting here doing this now. That's what it is. It's real talk. The first page is about me sending a letter to my daughters, or writing a letter to my daughters, to myself, and then to Yahweh, to God. Mm-hmm. But he was there the whole time.
Yeah.
Even though I don't miss him through the book, my dude was in there, But yeah.
So what do you have? I know you wrote a book.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you today? And what would you tell your 6-year-old self?
I got you, girl. I got you. You want some ice cream? Some flowers? Boy, we taking a ride. Got you on the Jeep with the windows back. Got you, girl. I got you. That's what I tell her today. You ain't got to worry about nothing. You ain't got to wait for nothing. And you ain't got to ask no permission from nobody.
Yeah.
That's who she is right now. My name is I've gotten rid of all my other extra names, but Leandria Elizabeth Arnold. Mm-hmm. I'm that grown woman today that don't have a problem saying no because it's a full sentence.
Yep. Hello?
It's a full sentence.
And I said what I said.
I said what I said. And if your feelings go get hurt, then you need to check and process yourself because it ain't got nothing to do with me for real.
Yeah. I hit him with this. I think maybe you need to go to counseling and probably see what's driving that.
Yeah, boundaries. Learn what boundaries are. I'm gonna look. I know where I begin. I know where you end.
Right.
That's it.
Well, you already know that you are coming back for a part 2, and I definitely look forward to it.
Me too.
We might have to have a woman circle.
That's it. I got one in North Carolina. It's called the Selah Circle. You know, that's the name of my salon. Selah came up with that when I was in prison. So it means pause and reflect, to look back and reflect over some things. Mm-hmm. It's okay to look back. Just don't stay there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just don't stay there. And so, yeah, that's what I do. And I love having women in there because a lot of us really just don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
We're going to have a women's circle. I'm going to get some people to get some women together and we talk about whispering through the pain. So you've just listened to the Blinded Truth podcast, Whispering Through the Pain Until It Screamed Back, powered by Destiny is Thy Choice Support Services. If this episode spoke to you, take a moment and reflect. And ask yourself some things. What have you been avoiding? What have you been trying to silence? Because pain doesn't disappear when you ignore it, it gets louder. But here's the truth. What screams can also be healed. Your pain isn't here to destroy you. It's here to rebuild you. So don't run from it. Face it. Learn from it. Grow through it. There is strength in your honesty and power in your healing. And as always, remember, your destiny is by choice, not by chance. Keep walking in your truth. And Lee, thank you again for taking the time to come and speak with me. Hey. You will be back for a part 2.
Hey. You already know it.